And then, John, you might want to mute and then have Joe talk.
Count it down.
Oh, I see Tony. All right, well, welcome back, everybody. This is the happy hour at Remax Heritage. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Ferrigno. I have several guests today with us again. We have Mr. Hipple himself, Tony Salerno, Jennifer Marie, JJ Duran, Mr. Johnny Depp, and a special guest, attorney Beth Grissett.
Hello.
Beth, welcome.
Thank you for having me today, Joe. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're glad. You know, Beth and I have been doing business for years, and her and her firm have been probably one of the top agencies in Connecticut that we've done business with. And I've been doing business for 22 years, and out of those 22 or 23, whatever it is, I think we've done business with all of them. So I'm glad. Awesome. So, guys, tell us about before we get into Beth. Anyone think getting excited to happen this week? I mean, we're all stuck at home. What are we doing?
Well, I've been showing vacant houses as luck would have it. So, I think we're still doing business. We're still out there trying to help people get themselves into a home, which is really a high-level thing for people to do. And we're trying to be safe using our criteria that we need to follow, which is, keeping away from each other, so to speak, and at the same time, keeping this thing that's in front of us hopefully under control. If we could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Bringing Clorox wipes, I always say it, but just trying to keep everything clean and keep everything, vacant houses have been, the majority of what we've been showing for sure. But people are still out there looking, and sellers still need to sell. So it's definitely slowed down. I think anyone would be, especially right now, the beginning of the spring market, right?
Absolutely.
True.
So, we had a lot of changes, right, in the past couple weeks. Beth, you want to jump in?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to tell you. I mean, I feel like it's a moving target, and we have been changing the way that we've been doing business pretty much on a daily basis. It seems like we're adding an extra level of precaution or something to make sure that we're keeping our clients and ourselves safe. My office is still up and functional. We're seeing a tremendous volume right now. A lot of new refinances, obviously, because the rates are so favorable, which is keeping us busy. But today, for instance, we have 8 transactions going on, and it's split, a third, and a third between refinances, purchases, and sales. And we're just trying to be as smart and minimize contact as much as possible. So one of the things that we started doing almost immediately when we started really watching the news and seeing the spread of this virus was to try to limit contact. While we love to see our agents at closing, while we love to see our loan officers at closing and really get to all be at a closing table together, we're asking our referral partners to stay home for their closings. It makes us really sad to have to ask that, but for everybody to do their part during this time, that's something that we have thought was absolutely integral to making sure that we minimize the spread of this virus.
Sure. Awesome.
And we over the last couple of weeks, like I said, it seems to keep changing. We had asked limited individuals to come. Up until about a week ago, we were still meeting with clients face to face. We are meeting with them still. However, we are meeting with them and asking for them to come and meet with us in our parking lot. So one of the things is that we're asking them to do is to come to call us. We're walking outside. We're witnessing the integral documents, the mortgage, and things that require our actual witness and viewing. And then we're coming back into our office to guide them via telephone through the remainder of their closing package.
Great.
And then one other thing is that we are seeing some changes with the availability of electronic notarization. We do have an executive order in the state of Connecticut that was passed by Governor Lamont. My team was very involved in the passage of that legislation. We worked with our real estate groups through the brokers and the real estate boards, but also with the Bar Association and several different groups to educate our legislators, to give them the tools to make it so that we could continue to do business for you guys in a safe and responsible manner. So we do have Executive Order 7Q that came down within the last week or so. It does allow for home electronic closings via Zoom, very similar to what we're doing here, where I can witness a client signing their documents and then have them send the originals back to us for purposes of finishing the notarization and recording on the land records. However, we did have a little bit of a snag that came up within the last day or two with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac putting out some guidance indicating that the approval from our lenders to be able to, and some concerns about saleability on the second market. So we are a little concerned about that. It did kind of put a hold of documents, but we're hoping that through concerted efforts between all of the industry groups that we will be able to move that forward and be able to continue to utilize that as things get worse and as more people find themselves stuck home.
Yeah, it's
So
concerning.
I wanted to ask you, Beth, where have you also seen your business change? What else has changed in your business in the last few weeks? Have you had an increase in certain types of business? What are you seeing?
Well, we're definitely seeing an influx of refinance transactions right now. I think a lot of people are very concerned about future economic stability. And because of that, they are really trying to take advantage of the low interest rates. But we are seeing a lot of people who are hanging on to second homes or who had purchased this summer and weren't really in a rush to sell a house that maybe that they were going to list, start to list them very quickly. And we're seeing a lot of cash transactions come through where individuals who have the finances to pull from are getting some, pretty good deals. I think there's a lot of instability in the market and a lot of insecurity right now. We're telling our clients to try to hang in there, not to overreact too much, and to try to continue to operate as normally as we can with all things considered. But there definitely is a lot of fear right now, and we are seeing that make some drive some decisions for our clients, certainly.
Sounds good. How about estate planning? Are you seeing anything?
Yes, absolutely. Our office focuses about 95% of our business on residential real estate. However, we do always offer to our existing clients estate planning services. So we've seen a large scale push from old clients reaching out to us unsolicited to ask for assistance with their estate planning, powers of attorney. We're also helping them as we can with medical directives and healthcare initiatives so that they have a conservator, an individual to be a healthcare proxy appointed for them. So that just for ease of mind, we're telling most of them that, it may never be necessary, but if it makes them just feel a little bit more confident, that for us, that's worth taking the extra time to do that for them.
That's fairly normal. Every time we go through some event like this, people sort of get back to the basics and do some of the things that they've been putting off.
Yes, absolutely. It definitely has incentivized some of our clients to get off of the fence where they may have otherwise been waiting to do their estate planning, their refinance, like I said, things like that. Another thing that I think concerns a lot of people is the shelter in place or stay at home orders in some states and the misconception that means that they can't conduct a transaction out of state. And what we're trying to encourage our clients to do is reach out to us. Between our law firm and our title company, we are licensed in 11 states. And so we are still helping them with their second homes, with their, like I said, their acquisitions, purchases, and refinances out of state, while not mandating that they actually move for the transaction. So especially with flights limited and the ability to travel around the country extremely restricted these days, we're still getting those transactions accomplished for our clients. There are a lot of different ways that we can do that, whether it be through electronic means, or we also have a very dedicated team of notaries that work for us that are taking all of the precautions, wearing masks, wearing gloves, coming out. A lot of people are electing to meet outside on their front porch, or to maybe have the notary drop a package on their, on their doorstep and just watch through a window as they sign. We are still getting deals done though, for sure.
Right, right. So if I can ask you a question related to, for example, a new transaction. A buyer comes along, wants to purchase a home. In some cases, buyers are sort of hesitant, and because they don't know what the new, because they hear talk of new forms, new documentation, new things that are going to hopefully protect them due to the virus. And we have some COVID-19 documentation. What are you seeing? What is a good document that covers both the buyer and or the seller in a contract, just in case a transaction can't be executed or can't be closed?
Well, we've seen several COVID-19 riders being circulated. I believe there is a proposed version from the Connecticut Real Estate Bar. We have seen documentation from different brokerages where their corporate counsel have drafted in certain parts of the state where attorneys are not drafting the contracts. We are cautioning our clients to be very careful with those documents. A lot of those are extremely boilerplate, and they don't always take into consideration the particularities of any individual client's circumstances. So what we are cautioning them to do is to have a very frank conversation with their loan officer, with their real estate agent, and with their attorney. What are their concerns? What are the particularities of their job? What are their soft or weak points? And how can we draft something particular to them to address their concerns? We have a lot of people who are dealing with furloughs, and we're trying to make sure that they are communicating with their loan officers in terms of how is that going to impact their loan eligibility and their employment verification. Dates. We're doing a lot of, in Fairfield County, Connecticut, for instance, there is a delay penalty if you do not close within 5 business days. So we're doing a lot of ad hoc removal of those things on a case-by-case basis. However, on the other hand, we do have some clients who are going in and saying, listen, I'm a cash buyer. I don't have any of those concerns. And we're seeing those offers be very strongly considered, where previously maybe they were too low, or the sellers were hanging out for a higher offer or bid.
Yes, and we are seeing that also. People are adjusting quickly to the new market, and the market certainly is changing daily. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So also in recording, when closing happens, how are you seeing the towns with getting to the town halls and getting things recorded, or how is that happening these days?
Absolutely. In the beginning, when the order from the governor came down regarding non-essential workers being told to stay home, there was a little bit of concern regarding the way that town halls were going to react. We saw an initial flurry of closures at town halls, and that pretty quickly changed course. And so we're very thankful for that. A lot of towns are not open in person. They're requiring that if you wish to go into a town hall to do a title search or a rundown, that you make an appointment. But most of our towns are now online with online accessibility. It was pretty scattered. I mean, we have 169 different towns in Connecticut, which makes us very, very unique from this perspective. If you go to a state like Massachusetts, everything is done on a county by county basis. So it's very easy for them to address these issues because they're dealing with many fewer entities than the individual town by town recording we deal with here. So what ended up happening is a lot of towns that were not online and did not have online accessibility, they elected to complete that push. And we're seeing a lot of towns allowing access for free, whereas previously it was by charge only in an effort to give accessibility and to prevent the spread of this virus. In terms of recordings, we are FedExing the majority of our recordings, doing online title search rundowns prior to do so. We're FedExing. FedEx has been very good throughout this all thus far in meeting deadlines. And we are sending them in, and the recording offices are recording them for us on a pretty timely basis. In the beginning, we had a concern over some towns. For instance, Hamden was not online and was closed for at least, I believe, a week. There was a lot of insecurity regarding how that was going to impact transactions there. Today, we were able to schedule a closing that we did not think was going to close. They have pushed to have online access. They have scheduled appointments for visits to the vault, just really trying to keep people in there one at a time and not have multiple people lined up in the clerk's office. So the transactions are recurring. We also have partnered with, we are agents for 4 underwriters in the state of Connecticut, and all of them have worked with us as members of the bar to be able to issue insurance even when we cannot get a recording online. They're saying, or to be able to go ahead, close the transaction, and record as soon as feasibly possible. The underwriters have all issued their own GAAP letter endorsements or affidavits that we're requiring buyers and sellers sign, just basically saying that no one is going to impact the chain of title by having any liens or transfer documents recorded until we're able to get those documents recorded with the town.
That's great. That is great. And I'm sure it's a great relief for you and other attorneys that the towns are consistent in doing things the same way, because for a lot of other reasons, town halls do things their own way, and it's very sometimes inconsistent from town hall to town hall.
I will tell you, our state still has a lot of improvements to work on. For instance, we have a transaction closing in Massachusetts today. Their counties are very, very good in terms of allowing almost everything to be done online now, including the recordings. We're starting to see a little bit of that in Connecticut, but there is still a lot of discrepancy from town to town about whether or not an online recording is acceptable and how we need to remit the conveyance taxes to the Commissioner of Revenue Services.
Yes, that's a little bit archaic, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I'm really hoping that out of all of this negativity, we see a lot of positive change in Connecticut. There are a lot of things that we've all been pushing for that I think we may see a little bit of progress come from this. And so we hope that that's a silver lining for all of the negativity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so more importantly, what's your preferred happy hour drink? I know you have wine there, but
I do. I am typically a Basil Hayden drinker myself, but I'm out. It's been a stressful couple of weeks, so my bottle in the office is dry.
That's good. That's good.
Beth, how many closings are you guys doing a month?
We actually had a banner March. I think we closed almost 60 transactions. So it was, I think that what we're anticipating is that we're going to see a shift. We're getting a lot of closings now pulled up that I think we may see a little bit of a lull in early spring, early summer, where we would normally be closing the transactions. But we feel very fortunate. We have a lot of wonderful referral partners that continue to believe in us and refer to us. And my team is working overtime to make sure we can meet the demand.
Tony and I have been taking like numerous coaching calls and webinars for the past week, and the biggest takeaways we got were this isn't a 2008 recession, that it's going to last 90 to 120 days, and once we're probably going to drop about 30-35%, but beginning of third quarter we're going to shoot up 70, which would be an actually 30-35 from where we are now. So they're expecting a huge third quarter. So that was like it was just kept saying it's not 2008. It's not 2008. You can't think of it like that. I hope they're right, but I think that's the biggest takeaway we took.
We are too, because I have to tell you, all of our transactions that we have seen fall out thus far, they haven't fallen out. They have been put on hold. And I think that is a big discrepancy, and a big difference is that you need to understand that when we dealt with 2008, 2009, that was particularly related to our real estate market, whereas this has nothing to do with our real estate market. This has nothing to do with our economy per se. This has to do with us doing our part to put everything on pause to fight this virus. And I think that you're going to see a pent-up demand. I know that going into this winter, we kept saying, is it going to slow down from the summertime? And, we had one of the busiest Januaries and Februaries that we had ever seen before this virus ever had an impact. And so what I really think is those people are still there. Those people are still going to want to buy homes. Those people are still going to want to sell their home. And I'm hoping that we just see a delay in our spring market and maybe have one heck of a fall market.
Yeah. I hope so. We are.
I think you're right about that. We also know that, we're not. I talk about a shameless plug on our podcast all the time, but truly the reason that real estate brokers and of course attorneys, that's a whole other level, are essential is that people need to do the process of selling a home, purchasing a home. It's a really big life changing or necessary thing for people to do. And even during these times, if the timing is now that you need to do something, there is certainly a benefit for doing that. And if you have to do it, we just want people to know that business is continuing to happen, even though it's in a more controlled or limited, or it's in a different way, but it is happening. And I'm sure you can attest to that. And you have.
Absolutely. Like I said, we are still extremely busy, and I'm still receiving new purchase. I mean, this isn't just existing business that we're closing out right now. I'm seeing a influx of new purchase business, new contracts being written. We're just doing it in a responsible manner. And like I said, everybody is limiting contact. Everybody is taking as many precautions as possible. And as much as possible is being done remotely. And in this day and age, it's kind of a little bit ironic that we weren't doing more things remotely before this all occurred. I mean, the technology is there. I think for a long time, there was a concern about fraud or about opening up technological means for doing these transactions. And I think what you're going to see is that now that we've opened the floodgates and allowed this type of freedom for these transactions to occur, it's going to be really hard to put the genie back in the bottle. And I think there's going to be a demand for people to continue to be able to do these things electronically.
That's great. It really is. Because when we as real estate agents talk to agents from other states, even if they're title states or attorney, they use attorneys, things are so much more streamlined than what we have to do, what we see happening every day. And it's really good that that's happening for sure.
It really is. I mean, as a younger team in this industry. My team has been pushing for that for a long time. It's one of the things I think that sets us apart from our competitors, is that we have always been very tech savvy and very flexible with our clients. And I think after all of this, you're going to see gone is the day of, the faxing back hard copy contracts and sitting in a room to execute contracts with your attorney. I mean, a lot of our clients are loving the Zoom opportunities to meet with us, and they still get to see our faces, but they get to do things in a much more convenient way for themselves and not take off as much time off of work. And I mean, I'm excited about a lot of the opportunities I think that this will present for us going forward. But I really do long for the day when I get to shake a client's hand after a closing. And, that's something that I really do miss out of all of this. As nice as it is to see their smiling faces behind a car window, it's a little bit different to be able to share that with our real estate agents and our loan officers at a closing table.
We're the
You
people.
have drive up law now.
It's true. Very true.
So do you find that it's a generational thing as far as clients wanting to get in front of you?
No, I think that there are some of my oldest clients are enjoying a lot of this because, they're learning how to use their phones. They're learning how to use their computers. When I teach them something and I say, okay, we're going to set up a meeting now, and this is how you're going to access the documents, they're intrigued by it. I have a very, very few people have been abrasive or resistant to the things that we need to do right now. I mean, I had 2 nurses yesterday from Stanford come to meet with me, and they were absolutely just floored by the way that we handled the transaction. The client called me afterwards to, thank my team and to say that he really didn't believe when he came to meet with me that he was going to feel safe during the transaction, because he's dealing with so many people who just aren't taking the necessary precautions. And as a nurse, he knows what that can mean right now. And he was really, really appreciative of everything that my team did to make sure he was safe. And like I said, whether it is the social distancing precautions or the electronic means that we need to utilize, everybody's been very receptive. In a time that if you would have asked me this a couple weeks ago, if a 70-year-old client was going to want to do a Zoom meeting with me for their closing, I probably would have told you no. But now it's, everybody is just doing their part, and I've seen that most of them are very, very positive about doing that.
That's really good.
That's
So
great.
Joseph.
But that's not surprising to me, because I know you're doing all this stuff, and I know what kind of firm you have, and I know the work ethic that everybody at the firm has. So not surprising to me.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So Joe, what do you have going on this week? How did your week go?
So, we have a lot of files. We have about 32 purchases for the month of April, and we got 7 new ones in this week. So we're just trying to keep them all together. We have about, I think, 75, 80 files altogether. We got some people getting laid off, unfortunately, and some furloughs. We got mortgage guidelines changing by the day. So, we're just trying to keep it all together.
Joe, can you tell me a little bit about the changes regarding credit scores and the government loan requirements now?
So I'm probably not the person to ask, but from Josh, when Josh tells me, FHA has turned to a 640 minimum credit score now.
Okay.
So the problem you run into is these files that aren't locked yet, that you have floating out there in process, they're gonna have to, either find a way to circumvent the deal, find a co-borrower, find a way to get your credit score up.
So that is not just for new applications taken, that's retroactive?
Whatever's not locked is not closed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and they just throw this stuff at us, and it's like, too bad, so sad. This is the way it is. I know a bunch.
Well, especially for a transaction that's already in process.
Right. Right. We had a $2.8 million transaction that just we were pretty deep into it and got the rug just pulled from underneath our feet. So that one hurt this week. But, we had a coaching call today about the positives that are going on right now. And bye guys, drive safe. And I thought about it for a while, and and the speaker's big thing is I'm not trying to be insensitive. We know that there's it's a shit show, but we got to take some positive out of this. And I thought about it for a while, and I'm like, you know what? Business, business, we have our business, but right now we're healthy. My family's healthy. I'm spending more time with them. And really at the end of the day, that's all really matters. So we'll work these deals out. We'll get them out. If they gotta get put on hold for a month or 2 or 3 or whatever it is, then we'll take care of it then, because the health of everybody is more important than anything else.
Absolutely.
I completely agree.
So, guys, we're getting short on time, and I told the crew before we started that this was going to be an easy one, because I know Beth, and she could talk and she'll tell us everything. We could just sit back and relax.
A lot of good points and information for people.
Yeah, no, Beth is like I said, her and her firm they're tops in Connecticut, and I knew she would have a lot of value to add to everybody listening out there.
That's so true. That was so informative. Absolutely.
And John and JJ's back there. JJ, anything to add? How's your week?
Ferocious Content. JJ, can you talk?
These are our photographer and media people.
Yeah, sorry. I got the show playing on the phone to make sure I can hear everything. Last week things didn't go according to plan, but just like last week, we're learning and we're rolling with the punches. John has went through tirelessly researching all this stuff, so we were able to make this call happen, and it pretty much went through flawlessly. And John's the little guy right there with the glasses on. We can't hear him, but he's running the whole show, and we really appreciate his hard work.
You guys have been keeping busy during this, obviously, correct?
Yeah, we're right now we're running the mayor's Facebook Live. So every day, Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m., we're responsible for getting the crisis communications out. And we're also recording TV spots and turning them into radio ads, and really just trying to get creative with this. We're learning new things every day, though, and we're being pushed to do things every day. But it's good. It's what it needs to be right now.
Yep, new normal for now.
Yeah.
I think it's pushing everybody outside of their comfort zone to learn something new, right?
Absolutely. Did I do a shameless plug already? And we are available to do market analysis and or walkthroughs with our clients virtually. So don't forget about Remax Heritage. And of course, we know these are very serious times, but we also know that people need our services and they need our help. So understand that we're here for you under these crazy circumstances that we're faced with.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Tony, on a really serious note here, what is that doll behind your back on your right hand?
That's little Josh.
Little Josh?
You want to talk? Let's talk about little Josh.
I don't know if he's in the room.
Okay, so if Josh is not there,
We'll send it to him.
we received. So one of our Remax brokers from Vermont, fantastic guy. What a personality. He's become one of our friends, one of our good friends.
Part of our family.
When we were in Las Vegas for our international convention, everyone went to his wedding. Of course, I didn't go. I couldn't go. But everyone went to his wedding. It was hilarious. He got married in the Elvis Chapel. But he is known for his mustache, if you can see the mustache here. So above and beyond the mustache, he's been, on social media with this guy right here, which some of you recognize who he is from Toy Story.
He's going to have a special place in our office when.
So I made a comment to Josh that he was awesome and that he actually had his own action figure, and he was kind enough to send this to me. But there's a caveat with that whole thing. We have to put him in the office. And I know I'll put him in the Westport office because I know it's going to it's going to bother Kathy. And I'll put them probably right on her desk. But she'll have to live with it because Josh is now part of Remax Heritage in Westport. The other part is that I also, as part of the challenge, I need to get one of these mustaches, which is what I'm working on right now, and you'll see it soon. It's going to be ridiculous, by the way, but it's going to happen.
Part of the challenge. It's okay.
It's part of the challenge. So that's what.
Jen, how do you feel about this mustache that he's about to grow?
What do they call it? No shave, COVID no shave. There was a movement
Oh, really?
I keep seeing around. So
I'm actually, that's what I was trying to do, is not shave at all, but I'm going to need to do the thing because I have to honor our friend Josh. Not because of that show on Netflix, though. I just want you to know it's not about that.
Yeah,
the
Tiger King.
It's not about Joe Exotic.
Oh my God.
Tony Exotic.
Tony Exotic. No.
There are some really scary
So
in the world.
again, I'm gonna start taking Josh, little Josh, that is, to all of my appointments. So people will probably think I'm insane, but hey, better crazy than anything else, that is. So that's Josh.
Got that, Joe? You wrote all that down?
That was way too much information. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're gonna get one, by the way.
Yeah. I already have one. He works for me.
He doesn't have a mustache like this, though.
I'm sure he could be
All right.
persuaded to grow one.
So, I'm sure. Have all of you watched Tiger King at all?
Yes, I finished the whole show.
JJ?
I
So
binge watched it. Yeah.
did Carol do it or not?
Oh, Carol definitely did it.
100%. It's real.
Okay.
There was a really funny video I just saw actually on social media where it's just a video of Carol like holding the phone selfie, and she's like, "Hi, it's Carol here, your cat." It's her little line that she does, and
Cat's
you can hear in the
engaged.
background someone added in, "Ah, ah," and it's like you can hear her husband in the background if you really listen carefully. So, yeah.
It happened. I know it happened.
All right, guys.
Guys,
I
this
think
was
we're going to wrap this up. Hey, Beth, if anybody wants to contact you, can you let us know where to contact you at?
Absolutely. They can contact us on our website, www.grissettandassociates.com. They can also email us at realestate@grissettandassociates.com. They can look at our Facebook page for updates regarding COVID-19 and measures that we are taking to keep our clients and our staff safe.
we'll put that in the description.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, everybody? Anybody?
Stay safe. We're in this together.
Be safe.
Let's get a cheers.
Cheers.
Right?
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, everybody. Beth, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Send
you.
this out, Joe.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Yeah.
Cheers.